Coming up on this week's episode of Flashtalk, Kent State women's basketball head coach Todd Starkey recaps the rivalry victory. Kent State men's basketball head coach Rob Senderoff talks about this upcoming week in MAC play. Kent State lacrosse head coach Brianne Tierney talks about the start of the upcoming season for her team. And finally, Kent State softball head coach Jess O'Donnell previews the spring season for Kent State softball. All that and more coming up in a flash. Welcome into our Flash Talk studios. Dane Richardson joined alongside Kent State women's basketball head coach Todd Starkey. Coach, coming off that rivalry victory against the school down the road, you pick up the men's team from Friday night the next afternoon. A really fast start. Akron only had 4 points in that first quarter. What was the key defensively?
We were just really focused and locked in. Obviously, there's a little extra on the rivalry game, so the wagon wheel. And our players were definitely excited about that. I thought they did a great job in practice to do 2 days prior, really absorbing a scouting report, and then defensively we were just locked in and did a great job throughout the first half.
The new MAC player of the week is one of your senior players, Jenna Batts, 33, a career high against Eastern Michigan. Her previous career high was 25. Then she comes in with 25 against the school down the road. What can you say about the rhythm she's in offensively right now?
Yeah, I think she's doing a really good job of just kind of letting things come to her. You know, she's it's a bit of an adjustment from last year, playing opposite Katie Shoemate, right? And we've talked about that before. You know, to be in the kind of feature player and the focus on everybody's scouting report. And I thought Jenna's done a really good job of just kind of working through that, and now is at a point where she's just feeling comfortable and really letting things come to her, and her shot selection's been great. She's been staying aggressive, and then, you know, her being one of the best free throw shooters in the country, that doesn't hurt either.
Last year, you guys got off to a 10-2 start in conference play. You're 8-2 now, a chance to go 9-2, and then eventually 10-2 next week. What has been the key to you building this program up to this point where you guys are at that top class in the MAC now year in and year out?
Well, I mean, I think once again, we're not really concerned about going 10-2. We're concerned about going 9-2. What's right in front of us? I mean, that sounds like coach speak because it is, but really that's the way you stack wins, is by focusing on the one that's right in front of you. As far as the consistency goes, when you don't have turnover on your staff, you don't have turnover on your roster. It lends itself to a better opportunity for good things to happen, especially if the players coming back are talented, which we've had. And so we've been very fortunate to be able to retain the players that we have, and then continue to bring in good players around them as we graduate players, boldly prepare for life beyond sport, and win championships. Like Randall Richmond always says, our AD, that's our mantra. That's what we're about here at Kent State, and that's what we've been focused on as a women's basketball program. What
is the main key offensively, especially as teams probably continue to circle Jenna Batch more?
You try and take Jenna Batch away, and then you've got the two-headed monster, so to speak, with Janae Tyler and Riley Rissmiller in the paint, and then you've got Bridget Dunn, who can stretch the floor and is one of the best defensive rebounders in the league, in the country. You've got a point guard who can score if you don't pay attention to her, and Deanna Gray. You've got Maya Babbitt, who might be the most improved player in the league this year, and then we've got players coming off the bench that can help us out as well. So I mean, it's just it's a nice luxury to have. My job is to try and put them all in favorable positions to score. And to be successful, and they're the ones that are doing it. So I'm really proud of them. Our assistant coaches have done a great job with scouts this year, player development in the offseason. All these pieces coming together is really what's led itself to where we are now, but we still have room for improvement. I'm excited about that.
You're headed all across America this week, in Illinois and the Midwest, heading down south to Alabama to play Troy. So where are you looking to improve this week?
We could certainly improve on our creating some live ball turnovers. I think we're a solid defensive team that doesn't give up a whole lot. We typically only take calculated risks, and I think that's why we're a really good defensive rebounding team, and why we contest a lot of shots. But we probably need to get a little bit more proficient at turning teams over, and then we could probably stand to get a few more offensive rebounds as well. We've been shooting the ball well, so that lends itself to fewer misses and fewer offensive rebounds. But I mean, if we're getting nitpicky with that stuff, I think that might be what it is. Offensive efficiencies maybe in the third quarter, different things like that. But overall, I'm pleased with where we are, but not satisfied.
At Troy, who rebounds the ball very well. I know you're not focused on them yet, but coming up this weekend, Heading down south, a long road trip. What do you expect?
We're focused on conference play. The Sunbelt Challenge game is kind of thrown in the middle there, and a little bit of a curveball, and we'll attack that game as a one-off, a standalone, and try to continue to get better with that and the travel involved in it. But our sole focus is on continuing to get better for Mid-American Conference play, and then what lends itself to us being our best when the MAC tournament comes around. Troy's a very talented team, very athletic, and has the ability to really be disruptive. That's what I know about them so far.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get into them more as we move further into the week.
It's Kent State women's basketball head coach Todd Starkey. Coach, appreciate the time.
Yep, sounds good. Go Flashes.
When it comes to reaching your goals, having the right support can make all the difference. That's why we trust Green Lending, Kent State Athletics' exclusive mortgage partner, to help you achieve your home ownership dreams.
Just like on the court, everyone has a role to play. With the right teammates, any dream is possible. Green Lending is here to be that support to help you make those big moves in life.
Visit greenlending.com and let Green Lending help turn your dreams into reality.
Green Lending, helping Golden Flashes achieve their biggest dreams on and off the court. And welcome back to Flash Talk. I'm James Burge here with head men's basketball coach Senderoff. With this week, what are some things you're hoping to find out about the basketball team that you might have not known last week?
Yeah, just trying to get better here, James. Heading down the stretch in conference play, we've got this one non-league game, against Arkansas State, which is a great program. The MAC matched us up with the leader of the Sunbelt Conference, which is going to be a heck of a challenge for our team. It will give us a little bit of a break in terms of, getting this non-league game in here in February, and then, the stretch run of final 8 games, trying to sort of position ourselves, hopefully for a good seed, get ourselves into Cleveland, get ourselves playing our best basketball, heading down the stretch, and hopefully playing well and getting ourselves comfortable with where we are as a group.
That Sun Belt versus the MAC, what are we going to see different there?
Well, when you play a non-league game, the familiarity with the opponent is just at a different level. When you're playing conference games, the scouting in terms of everyone knows every call, everyone knows every tendency of every player on your roster. So it's a little different when you play a non-league game, which is good. It's good for your players. It's good for your staff. It's good for your team to get a different look. And then there's a little different style. Arkansas State is one of the faster teams in the country. They play similarly to Akron in terms of their style, up and down team. We've played a couple teams like that already, Alabama, Kennesaw State, both in the non-conference. They both come from the coach at Arkansas State, worked at Alabama previously, just like the coach at Kennesaw State. So we're a little familiar with that style of play, but getting to play a non-league opponent in February, it is a good break for your guys, a little mental break in terms of the pressure of conference play. There's a higher level of pressure with each play and each possession. So to get this non-league game is good for us, and then it'll allow us to refocus for these last 8 games, which are going to be really important for us as we're trying to position ourselves, because as you know, you've got these upper 2 or 3 teams in the league that are in a really good spot, and then the rest of the league here is really jumbled, trying to sort of jockey for position.
Are there any players that you're looking to maybe change their role or step up in a certain way? Is there anybody you're thinking or hoping that'll surprise you What is it you're looking for from your team kind of coming down the stretch?
Yeah, that's a good question, James. We need everybody. Like we've had a couple guys. In the course of the year, you have a couple guys that every team has this. You have a couple guys get hurt, and a couple guys have to change roles, so to speak, throughout the year. We've made a couple changes to the starting lineup throughout the season, but really down the stretch of this season, we need every guy to play to their ability as a basketball player. That's really what it boils down to. You need everybody to understand at this time of the year, what they do well, play to their individual strengths, our team collective strengths, a level of consistency individually and collectively. And that's really it. Nobody has to do anything special. We have to play with tremendous toughness and competitive spirit, but it's not that I need or we need anyone to step up, so to speak, but just collectively just play, our style of basketball.
What can the alumni and supporters of Kent State basketball do to help you and your team be more successful?
Well, first and foremost, we had an awesome crowd against Akron, and we didn't play well, but don't give up on the team, I guess is what I'd say. And I can understand why that performance may make you say, hey, this isn't the year. But we've had a couple other years, 2017, where we were in a very similar predicament, and guys came through. And I would just say, be there, show your support. I think sometimes when things are rough for your team, which they were Friday night for sure, that's when guys need the support the most. So show up, cheer, be as loud as you can at the games, and support our team through this tough time. And you know what, hopefully there'll be brighter days ahead for this team and our program's, been strong for a long time. And I'm sure these guys, as much as any group, needs that support because we haven't played as well at home, and we need to, and everybody knows that, and our guys feel it too. So we need that support.
Coach Senderoff, really appreciate your time today, Coach.
Yeah,
and I hope you all have a great day.
Go Flashes.
Golden Flashes fans, this is men's basketball coach Rob Senderoff. At Kent State, we're building champions both on and off the court. In order to keep our winning tradition on the court, we need your support of the Blue and Gold Collective. Now more than ever, we need you to be our sixth man.
Flash family, make sure to play the Blue and Gold Collective 50-50 raffle. And when you play, the Golden Flashes win.
Support the Blue and Gold Collective and help our Flashes soar.
Today, the world could use a little more understanding. Understanding nurtured by shared values. We come together at Kent State. Different dreams, different viewpoints, united by purpose. Preparing to make a difference in our divided world. Wherever you are in your life's journey, come learn with us. Begin at Kent State.
Joined in our Flash Talk studios by Kent State Lacrosse head coach Brianne Tierney. Coach, we appreciate you joining me, and it's the start of a new season for you guys. February 7th is your opener on the road at George Mason. Just tell me a little bit about how practice has gone and how excited you are for this season.
Sure. I think practice has gone great. We have a lot of players, 39 on the roster this year. We're more competitive than we've ever been before. We're faster than we've ever been before. Obviously very young, and that brings a lot of good problems to the table. But we're thrilled to be traveling to DC, and we have a lot of families out there. So thrilled to be getting to the East Coast, I think for the first time ever. So exciting times ahead.
That junior and senior class, you have a number of starters back. So who are some of those leaders that you're going to look toward?
Our four captains, our fifth year goalie, Ella Gravitt, two seniors in Sydney Deering and Chloe Benedum, and then our junior captain, Cam Meek. A ton of playing experience from all of them. And then obviously Zeta Crumpton is our all-MAC first team player who's a junior, and she's back this year, full force, ready to go. And I look for her to bring a lot of big numbers, cause turnovers, goals, draw controls for sure. So really good leadership from those smaller classes. there's 12 of them in total, and they're leading 27 young bucks. So we're in a really good spot right now, I think, from a leadership standpoint, a competitive standpoint, and a speed standpoint.
3-3 in the MAC a season ago. Do you guys talk about that MAC championship goal and trying to get to the NCAA tournament, winning the MAC tournament? Is that something you've talked about with this older group of players?
Every day. And I think we all know we came up a little short last year for the talent we had, and we were seeded first in the MAC preseason and then ended up not even going to the tournament. So I think, everybody understands that we underachieved a little bit last year, and they don't want to ever let that happen again. So that's where our sights are set, and MAC championship's the goal at the end of the year.
It's always tough to tell because your team hasn't played a game yet, but what would you say is your team's biggest strength right now?
Oh gosh, there's a lot of things I would say. Definitely speed, draw controls, and our goalies. Our goalies are always phenomenal, but Ella Gravitt and Sydney Davis make each other better every day, and I think they're, it could compare with any of the best goalies in the country, the way they're playing right now.
You have a lot of starters back, but you lose one of the most prolific scorers in school history Jackie Wolford.
Yep.
She was fantastic, but like I said, still a lot of attackers back, still a lot of midfielders back. Who's going to try and pick up that offensive slack a little bit?
Yeah, and you'll see a much more balanced offense this year. I think a lot of us watched Jackie and waited for her to score goals last year, and it put a lot of pressure on her. And so we have to be more balanced. We just don't have anybody like her anymore. So you'll see kids get 2-3 goals a game kind of across the board, hopefully. Zeta Crumpton will come back and do what she does. She'll score a lot of goals. And just looking for some different people to step up, some young guys, and this fall, Peyton Gellin scored quite a bit. Emily Bond, those juniors again coming back. Riley Floyd is just going to run our offense. She'll score here and there, but mostly she's doing the dirty work and doing all the other stuff that we need as an attacker. So that junior class will put up some numbers.
Last question for you. How do you see your defense shaping up this year, Coach?
We're, moving into more of a zone we're capable of doing now with the personnel we have, and we're putting a lot more pressure on our opponents. So defensively, you'll see a more exciting style of defense, more takeaway, more speed, and really pressuring out on other teams' offenses.
February 7th, the opener for Kent State Lacrosse at George Mason. February 20th, the home opener at Dick Stadium against Presbyterian. That's Kent State Lacrosse head coach Brianne Tierney. Coach Tierney, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Coming up this week in Kent State Athletics, brought to you by KSU Ticks. Kent State softball opens their season with a doubleheader against East Tennessee State and Campbell in Bowie's Creek, North Carolina. Kent State Lacrosse also opens up their 25 campaign at George Mason for a 6 p.m. first draw in Fairfax, Virginia. Kent State Gymnastics travels to Northern Illinois for a dual meet at 7 p.m. And Kent State Wrestling also has a dual meet at 7 p.m. at Ohio, while Kent State men's and women's track and field takes part in the Judd Logan Open in Ashland, Ohio over the next 2 days. On Saturday, Kent State women's basketball takes part in their second bout of the MAC Sunbelt Challenge at Troy for a 4:30 p.m. tip. Kent State men's basketball hosts Arkansas State for a 2 p.m. tip inside the MAC Center, while Kent State softball has another doubleheader in North Carolina against East Tennessee State and Campbell. On Sunday, Kent State softball continues their North Carolina trip for a 10:30 a.m. first pitch against UMass, while Kent State Lacrosse plays their second game of the year at George Washington for a 12 p.m. first draw. On Monday and Tuesday, Kent State men's golf takes part in the Hal Williams Intercollegiate in Mobile, Alabama. And finally, Tuesday night for a 7 p.m. tip, Kent State men's basketball takes on Central Michigan. As always, you can buy your tickets at KSUTix.com. If you want more information on your favorite Flashes teams, visit KentStateSports.com or visit the Go Flashes app. We'll be back with more right after this.
For every just one more mile to your next ace on the court, when you have a sports-related injury, Cleveland Clinic is here. For our Cavaliers, our Guardians, and athletes at all levels, our sports medicine team helps keep you in the game. With expert diagnosis, personalized sports therapies, and game-changing surgeries. For every injury, for every athlete, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic.
Joined in our Flash Talk studios by Kent State softball head coach Jess O'Donnell. Coach, appreciate you joining me. And how excited are you for this upcoming season?
I'm just excited to play some new teams we haven't played before, and anyone other than ourselves. So I'm just anxious to get on the field and see our team in action, see them playing together in their positions, and just getting the team together and getting away from some snow.
Now, I know you have a lot of newcomers to this year's team, specifically in the circles. So can you break down your pitching a little bit for us?
You know, we have Delaney Nagy. She transferred from UConn. We have Abby Pucci. She transferred from DePaul. We have freshman Ella Johnson. And we also have a transfer from Binghamton, Kendall Leitner. They're all different in so many ways. They just have a different mentality, different energy out there, a lot of confidence. You're going to see some up, some down, some in and out, mixing in some different speeds. So just a variety of pitching looks, and we're all going to be basing it off of what's the other team's strengths and how can we try to slow that down a little bit and just provide a different look.
In the series, once you get to MAC play, do you think that variety of different pitchers could help you guys a little bit?
100%. I think you're going to see more of a pitch by committee staff with us this year, just to try to throw some teams off a little bit. I think it's a benefit that none of the teams in the MAC have seen our pitching and seen most of our team play. So I'm excited to kind of give a different look to Kent State softball and obviously just have a variety.
What can you tell us about your team offensively?
Everything that we've done so far, I've been preaching that I want an offensive mindset. I want our pitchers to be attacking their batters. I want us defensively to be offensive and going after lead runners and getting outs and being smart with the ball, and then offensively being offensive, attacking early in the counts, knowing that the pitchers are going to come after you first pitch, and just being aggressive. I think that's really going to be big for us. Is we got some speed. Again, we have some transfers. We have some big hitter returners too. So just a different look in general for Kent State softball, but I'm just excited our offensive mindset and everything that we do.
You haven't played a game yet, but right now, what would you say is the biggest strength of this year's team?
Believe it or not, I believe it's our energy. I believe we're going to score runs based on that alone. And then obviously our hard work and talent will take over too, but our energy is just outstanding. The excitement of this team, the passion that they have, I think is one that I haven't coached ever in my career, and I'm super excited to see it take the field.
Who are some of the leaders of this year's group, Coach?
We meet every week as a team and sort of tackle a different leadership topic. I'd say it's hard to pick one. Even from our freshman class, they've really stepped in and we've given them a voice to speak up. I want our team to hold each other accountable, and just, again, the excitement. So I'd say you'll see some leadership from Delaney Robeson, a returner, Savannah Wing, returner, Katie Jo Maury from the shortstop position, Cam Utendorf at second base, even from our circle, just the leadership from the upperclassmen transfers as well. And we got Erin Noge transfer from Bowling Green out in center field that I think is going to provide us a lot of speed and leadership out there as well. And who can forget Carly Jo Penner, who just really is a ball of energy, a great leadership out there, and just the variety that we have up and down the lineup from freshmen to seniors. There's a lot of leadership there.
Year two for you here at Kent State. I know you have high aspirations for what this program can become. So what are some of those goals that you talked about this year with this team?
Winning the MAC's going to be a big one. I think anyone that's competing for championships is going to say that. But what's going to make this team different and stand out, and what's going to allow us the ability to do that, is going to be being smart with our pitching staff, and really just getting creative with the lineups and finding ways to move runners and scoring them, just playing the old school softball way and trying to throw teams off that way. And I think something unique, with the addition of Alex Whitmore, who just graduated last year, joining our staff, her knowledge of the game is outstanding. I think she relates to players really well. So being able to help them understand, hey, I was just in your shoes a year ago, and this is how we're going to play the game, and getting her to understand that. So I think obviously winning the MAC's a big one, but just going out there and competing and surprising some teams is going to be big.
Lastly, Coach, what do you hope to learn most about your team through non-conference play?
Just the tenacity. What do we have in us to go and play and compete? And I would love to just see us surprise some teams and make some noise. I think we've been quiet. Kent State softball has been quiet for the last since 2017. We've been quiet. Like, let's make some noise. Let's show the world what we're all about, and let's put our names back on the map.
That's Kent State softball head coach Jess O'Donnell. Coach, appreciate the time.
Thank you.
That'll do it for this week's episode of Flash Talk. Make sure you tune in next week as we recap the school down the road rivalry games and talk about the start of the spring sports season. For our entire GFTV studio, special thanks to everyone at FanDuel Sports Network. For Ethan Lachinsky, Justin Spots, I'm Jaden Richardson saying good night and go Flashes.
As you know, Kent State Athletics, our basketball team has historically been a huge part of our athletic department. We have a winning tradition. We always bring a great game. But in today's day and age, the basketball game itself isn't going to entice the average fan. We really need to come over the top. We need to do these exciting things like they do in professional sports. And without sponsors or partners like Ken Ganley, we wouldn't be able to afford to do like tonight, the esports night with the Ken Ganley game room. Also being able to do the $10,000 putt at halftime that they're supporting. So those types of things help us advertise and get out into the community and maybe reach people who are not just the average basketball fan. They also help us out off the court. So many of our faculty, our staff, and our coaching know that they can go to Ken Ganley Chevrolet, get themselves a vehicle in a short amount of time without having to shop everywhere. They're so important to us on so many levels that we're just so grateful that they're a part of our family, and I don't know how we would live without them.